Hi, we're Blenderstyle. We discuss an extreme blend of music. On this episode, Lorna Shore, Pain Remains. This album's released on Century Media in 2022. Cheers!
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
The pain remains.
So this is probably my most anticipated release for this year. I was really looking forward to this.
Really? You're a fan of Lorna Shore before
I am not a fan of Lorna Shore before this.
Then why?
To the Hellfire was
fan of Will Ramos.
Okay, this is his first album.
This is his first album, and I don't even know if he's anything before, but just from interviews and like all the stuff he's been doing and the promotions they've been doing a lot over the year has really built this up.
Like putting microphones down his throat or cameras down his throat while he does these
crazy.
like sewer vocals.
And so
you really like his haircut?
I actually kind of do like his haircut. I'm actually jealous.
I hate that fucking haircut.
I'm actually jealous because he has hair.
He has like top ramen hair.
Yeah.
But
it's like a half a top ramen.
Just all the promo shit that they did for this really had me like really looking forward to this.
So the marketing shit worked on you.
Oh, dude, the marketing for this album worked so good. And all the bullshit, like, I listened to Lorna Shore maybe 3 years ago, with their old singer, and I didn't like him. I didn't get it.
They've had a couple singers.
Yeah, the one
really?
that got fired, the one before Will. And then all that shit came out with him, and I was just like, oh, I'm glad I never got into that band. But they hyped this one up so much that I was just like really interested and like looking forward to this all year. And as soon as it came out, I was like, that's the one we're doing, guys.
Well, you heard the single to the Hellfire, right?
Yeah,
It was like an EP that they came out with before this.
Yeah.
That was Will Ramos too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I saw that they were on tour with Fallujah like several years ago, and I think I just assumed they were like a tech death band. I did listen to it, but nothing stuck, so I never got into it. But same as you, I heard like all this, like the buzz around this guy's vocals. I saw him where he was like doing all kinds of shit on YouTube and whatnot. So there's like definitely a marketing push for this.
Oh, yeah.
Which kind of turns me off a little bit. I was like, okay, this guy's getting like too cool for school, and their album hasn't even dropped yet. I'm like, all right, let's check it out. Are you familiar with Lorna Shore, Nathan?
I heard of Lorna Shore like years ago, but they weren't really in my wheelhouse. They were associated with bands I didn't give two shits about. But you sent me to the Hellfire. The EP that they came out with before this album, it was a single, and I thought it was pretty good. It incorporated some black metal and like symphonic metal stuff, so it intrigued me a little bit. So when you picked this, I was looking forward to listening to this.
Yeah.
But you're not like a deathcore guy.
No, deathcore is definitely not anything I've ever wanted to listen to.
And I think that's maybe what turned me off of their previous albums, because they were more deathcore, and this kind of incorporates, like you said, some black metal and some symphonic metal and just a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, the early stages of deathcore is something that I'm not really into, like Carnifex and other bands that were kind of...
I like Carnifex.
There's been another uprise of deathcore that's coming out lately.
Yeah.
And it's a little different. It's got a different spin on it. Like even like Whitechapel. I never liked Whitechapel.
But I love Whitechapel.
The last album they came out with, like I fucking live.
Thy Art is Murder is good too.
Yeah, they're pretty good. But yeah, I was never really into it, and now I'm starting to get into it.
But this is like symphonic deathcore.
I guess you would call it that.
Which sounds like a fucking oxymoron to me for some reason.
Yeah.
And it sounds like symphonic black metal makes sense to me. Deathcore has always kind of been like macho music, you know what I mean? Like derivative of Pantera and Hatebreed.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of skinny dudes that want to come off tough.
Right. But that's like the sound. It's supposed to be like...
They have like flip phones. Stretch
all
ears.
Right, to be fair, some of these deathcore bands are guys like lift and they're humongous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has like that kind of like bravado to it. And then adding symphonic to it, just I'm like, what, dude?
Yeah.
And then with like emotional lyrics, just kind of like doesn't really go together. And I didn't even know this was a genre. And I guess one of the bands is like Shadow of Intent.
Yeah.
Which they're pretty good. And I'm like, okay, I guess they're kind of symphonic, deathcore, whatever the fuck that means.
So this has a really cool build-in. I mean, kind of to touch on that symphonic part, there's this really cool synth build-in.
Like every song starts with the synth build-in.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that kind of bugs me about it. Is like, I don't need a lead-in for every single song.
Yeah, and there's not one keyboardist in this fucking band.
Yeah, it's all programmed synth, which kind of bugs me. Like,
so they have to tour with a laptop without a fucking doubt. There's no way these. Yeah. There's that band going around that like
Falling in Reverse.
They like lost a laptop so they can't play live.
Well, everybody gave them a shit for it, but I don't know. I think that's
I understand some things. But... Yeah, like I understand some things because people with a laptop have their pyrotechnics. They have like you can't afford to take an orchestra out with them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but those bands also don't put an orchestra in every fucking song. like who wrote this? Right? Like, who wrote the orchestra parts? Not them.
No.
It's got to be a computer or a producer.
Yeah.
You know, that's...
I feel like they just called their label and they're like, all right, we need orchestra. And they're like, we'll find you a guy that does orchestra.
We'll find you a track.
We're also going to spend millions of dollars on your production and on your marketing campaign. This just reeks of money, dude. This is just like filthy rich sounding to me.
The production on this is over the top. It's
dude.
Almost to the point of being overproduced.
It is overproduced. There's so much. How much time did they spend in the studio on
I
this?
honestly don't know. I didn't look into it, but I would assume it was quite a while. The pacing on this is great, though. I mean, this album kicks ass through the whole thing. There's some really good guitar solos.
There is good guitar solos.
I think there's good guitar riffs. The guitar solos that happen are literally the same sweep. It sounds
like pick sweeping or whatever.
Like it's But I do agree with you. There's some good guitar riffs
and
that
some
are
really
in
cool drums. Like the drumming is really good throughout this. This dude's all over the place.
Do you guys like breakdowns? Like all the breakdowns?
See, I'm not a big fan of breakdowns.
That's like a deathcore thing.
But
for
I
sure.
think they kind of work in this.
I disagree.
Yeah, I don't like the break. I think those are the bad parts.
Okay, so I'm not a fan of breakdowns, but in this I feel like they kind of work because there was always something else going on in there. Some of them do go on for too long, though. I will say that. Like, there's some really long, repetitive breakdowns in
with
here.
Like too much China cymbal.
Yeah.
Like dun, dun, dun.
I like the fact that this thing has a story, an overarching story through the whole thing.
That is the cool part about this.
But at the same time, I read the lyrics on this. I actually took the time and read through all the lyrics. There's a lot left on the table. The way that
really?
if you read the lyrics without the Will Ramos's explanation of it, you get the idea of what it is, but at the same time you're like
I never get lyrics.
They're not in depth. I kind of agree with you because I like read about the concept and stuff, and I was like, man, that's really rad, especially since I've been having fucked up dreams lately.
What is the concept of the? It feels like a breakup album to me.
No, it's a guy goes into a dream state and realizes and becomes lucid in his dream and realizes he controls everything in it. So he creates like the world and then people, and almost like he's God. He becomes God in his dream.
Really?
Creates the whole world, but then realizes that once he's created this whole world, that really it still hasn't helped him. He's still alone. He's still by himself because he can't interact with his creations. And then he finally finds love.
That's what this is about?
Yeah, and then like wakes up or some shit, or decides he's going to destroy the whole world because his love, they can never meet up or something. I don't know. It's weird. It's a cool story, but it's weird.
Yeah, I read them. I didn't get any of that.
I agree
but I'm
with
not a
you,
lyrics guy, so like I was just like,
well, no, I agree with you. I don't think the lyrics really.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I'm with you. I like where he's going with it, but I don't think the lyrics really portray that. They
fell short.
Yeah.
Okay, so his vocals are fucking ridiculous. Dude.
Oh, so good.
He has a wide range of like, I guess they're deathcore vocals, right? Which is derivative of death metal, but he can do these like super sick lows and like gurgly, fucked up sounding. Like his vocal performance on this is top notch. Yeah. Really impressive what he's able to do with his voice. But sometimes it doesn't make sense with the lyrics to me.
And see, and that's where I think a lot of the disconnect is. I think there's so much vocal performance going on, and I do have to give him that. Like even with the screeching and the squealing and the deep growls and stuff, he enunciates well.
He does,
which is amazing for what he's doing. But I feel like some of the parts he just tries to cram a bunch of stuff in there to get it out in that high pitch part or in that lower part.
I'm okay with that because I'm like bands like Dying Fetus will do that or Symphonic Carnage.
Yeah,
like it will just rapid delivery to fit in the lyrics, and sometimes like words will like go on
get
to
truncated.
Yeah, truncated or like elongated unnecessarily so it fits musically.
Yeah,
so he can say the word he wants to say. I'm okay with that. It just he's like doing deep growls and shit, but he's also singing it feels like a breakup song to me. Especially the last 3 tracks, which I think are the highlight. Pain Remains 1, 2, and 3. They kind of like run together, and there's like a theme.
It kind of is a breakup because that's when he realizes the protagonist realizes that his creation, he's never going to be happy no matter what he does, and so he decides he's just going to destroy it all.
I thought that was cool, dude. I thought the last part of this is cool, and I like that the cool part of the album for me is like at the end. It like pays off a little more.
Yeah, it
versus
really does.
being like front loaded.
Except for the guy dreaming, he just woke up with wet sheets.
He's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
He's like, again?
The fucking half woody, and his underwear is ripped from having a tent all night for 51 minutes or whatever this is, an hour. I definitely think the guitar leads are really good. I think the vocals are good. I like some of the symphonic stuff that's going on. I think they could do without some of the symphonic.
I agree.
I think sometimes it's too much, and I think sometimes the guitar riffs and what the band is doing is good, but it's buried in the symphonic.
Totally agree.
Fucking cloudy bullshit.
It's
it
like
does
totally
not need to
unnecessary.
be there.
Yeah.
So
take it away.
When I text you guys today, that today was the first time I listened to it on headphones because I've been driving so much for work that I've only had time to listen to it in the car. And I'm with you. The symphonic parts on this drown out everything. Like when they kick in, like especially in my car, that's all I hear. The vocals get lost with the guitar. Everything gets muddied together, and it's just a synth playing in your ears the whole time.
Yeah.
This has a really bad case of like Jekyll and Hyde going on with the audio.
Excellent way of putting it.
If you put it on headphones or a good stereo, it's a completely different album. Like I listened to this for 2 weeks, 3 weeks in the car, just back and forth, and I was disappointed. Because I looked forward to this album so much, and I was let down by it. I was like, it's flawed. It's the recording, the production is horrible. I mean, it's overproduced, but it's mixed wrong. I mean, to me, it pissed me off.
Yeah, you can't even hear the band at times.
Yeah, and then when I put my headphones on this morning and turned it on, I had this shitting grin on my face. It was the best thing I've ever heard in my life. It sounds completely different. Everything's mixed well. When it gets to those synths, they're pushed back. The vocals are up front. The guitar's up front. They're not muddied together. This would be one of those albums that would pay off really well to be remixed or remastered.
Remastered, yeah.
Because there's just, I don't know if they just mastered it all on headphones or whatever because it sounds perfect. Like if we were to listen to it on our headphones right now, I guarantee you it'd be a completely different album than what you guys listen to.
No, I know what you're saying. Because I listened to this when it first came out before you even picked it for the show. And I listened to it on good headphones. That's where I listen to most of my music.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's sonically a lot going on.
Exactly.
And it's really thick. And you can feel all the layers.
There's those really cool bass hits and the rumbles.
But it doesn't even sound like a band, dude. It just sounds like... It's
almost mechanical.
It's like a movie, like you're watching a movie, and they're just putting everything on top of everything. Like these guys,
this sounds like a studio band. It doesn't sound like a metal band.
Oh, there's a lot going on. Yeah, there's so much going on. It's so crisp. I think
I'd rather listen. Like I mentioned, "Thy Art Is Murder." Like I can hear those guys sound like I saw them live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're. Like almost like a garage band, like they can jam together and throw down and stuff. This is like you're saying, like a studio band. Like everything's put together. I think when they probably play live, they're all playing with in-ears because they all have to have the same click with going along with the computer, and it's like the computer's playing fucking probably guitar tracks along with their other guitar playing, and it just feels like a crutch. You know what I mean? Like they're not. It doesn't even feel like a real band, dude. It just. I got all that from the production. I'm like, this is like it's like watching a fucking movie versus a play.
So I watched a live
It's the
video.
Last Action Hero, dude.
So I watched a live performance of them, and I'm kind of with you. There's so much layering going on.
It sounds identical to this, I bet.
No, it does sound a little different, but you could tell the time, like some of the guitar timings are off, and you could hear the dubs in the back, the overdubs coming in.
Bothersome.
Where they layer that stuff, because I think there's just so much going on here to get that sound.
At times I feel like the genuine sound comes through, and it's literally for a split second. And then it's just washed away with all this layering and mumbo jumbo. And I think this band also has had so many different member changes, so much going on with it, that I don't think this band has even found what they even are supposed to sound like. I think that the label picked up on them and they can market it and fucking throw it out there for people. Deathcore's coming back and stuff, and it's just regurgitated bullshit that fucking gets thrown out there. But the thing is there are good parts.
There are, and I want to touch on what you said too.
I want them to like do away with all that other fucking bullshit
and just kind of strip it
down. Get to the core of what they're. Be a fucking metal band. Be a fucking metal band.
And I agree with you, because I feel like there's just so much stuff going on some parts of this. But I also want to touch on what you said about the band. I don't think there's anybody in this band from when this band formed.
No, I read something that the bass player literally learned how to play bass. Before this album or something. I'm like, no fucking way.
But I also
no way.
I read that I think the longest member is their guitar player, who was their second guitar player.
Yeah, there's not an original member.
There's no original members in this band anymore. Is it even the band that they started with? And maybe that's why their sound just keeps changing, because somebody else comes in and they change it up or whatever. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I really want to hear like a stripped down version of this. I think it'd be really cool, because there's, like you said, there's great guitar work, there's great drumming on this. Will's vocal performance is amazing. There's nothing like super.
There's nothing memorable here though either.
There really isn't.
And his vocals are good and they're great. I love that he's diverse and stuff. And at times, like even with like the low guttural whatever he's doing, I was like, am I just old? Like, is this just like a new way of thinking and maybe a new way of singing?
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Like, do you think this is like the future of metal? Do you think this is?
I hope not.
I don't know.
But you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I think it is.
Like, this is what the kids are going to be into. Yeah. Like, oh no, real metal is fucking Lorna Shore.
I think that
stupid name, by the way. This band name sucks.
I think the tools are too accessible now for people to just easily grab and drag. Instead of
piece their stuff together,
instead of being in a room and working it out
really
together.
Hash it out. Yeah.
And it's
like an old man thing to say, but I agree with you.
No, I mean, I think sometimes you can have too many colors to paint with.
Like Aerosmith can sit in a room, you give them instruments and play, they're gonna sound fucking badass. I don't think these guys,
they're gonna work with what they have. You know what I mean? They're not going to have something that they can download on some software.
They're going to work in their skill set and not just like bolt on extra stuff.
Like these guys are going to play and hit record and then go in and like edit it and tweak it and then like construct a song.
Yeah, I don't know.
And make a cool song. Like most of this sounds pretty cool, I guess. But it just doesn't sound like a band to me. I know I keep saying that, but like that's really my beef
I think
with
I kind of agree with you.
So what would you rate it then?
I give it a 3.3 out of 5.
Okay.
It's good. I do appreciate like the performances on it. It's totally overproduced. Like way too much money. I hate that it kind of bugs me that you got onto this by the marketing. Like the marketing worked and now we're talking about it on our show.
Yeah.
That kind of bugs me. Like I want to drop it several points just because of that. I'm not going to.
So I have to agree with you that it bugs me that the marketing worked, but at the same time, I love that the marketing worked, because aside from whether you like this band or not, this is a metal band being marketed and getting hype.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, I think they like made like charts and stuff like that with it, And
I mean,
but that's what's also sad is that this is representing metal right now, and this is not metal. I mean, it is metal.
It's metal, but yeah, it's like a different subgenre of metal. That
this sucks because I literally feel like an old man because like maybe I just don't get it. Just like I didn't get it when Deathcore first came out, you know?
I saw this post on Instagram and it was like Loudwire or some of the shit, and it was like songs that make you cry. And I saw a comment and it was someone said Lorna Shore, Pain Remains, Part 1 through 3.
I saw something like that too, and I was like, huh?
And I was like, really? We already started listening to this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I made a comment. I'm like, do I have to read the lyrics? And someone's like, yeah, dude, or whatever.
Yeah, but
and
even then, I don't think the lyrics were that.
So there's like there's like wimpy dudes like crying to this, and that's like how mainstream it is.
But if you read the lyrics for them, it's not even really that sad.
That's what I mean. It's like you got all these emo kids that are into fucking deathcore now. It bothers.
And this is what I also hated about deathcore in the beginning is like I hate using these words, but like emo is like this thing that kind of like wiggled its way into
everything
our
now.
Genre of music.
Yeah.
Well, and
I think this isn't emo. It doesn't sound like emo to me, but I think that little kids gravitate to this for whatever reason because it's marketed to them or whatever. And this is probably the most extreme thing that they've heard, like those breakdowns that they come out with are like literally like the simplest thing that you could play on a goddamn guitar.
And drums.
It's the simplest thing that you could play on a goddamn guitar, and a guy's going over it. Fuck you. Those parts can fucking die. Take the symphonic shit off. But I think I might be just an old man. I give this a 3.8. I kind of understand where people are going with it. I don't like it at all, but I gotta respect it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have to respect.
You're like, I don't like it. 3.8.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
though? I kind
do.
of have to like this is not something I'm gonna go back and listen to as a full. There were some songs that were pretty good. I can't even name one of them, but they're probably numbered 1 through 3.
It's like one of these.
It's so lazy.
Like
it's lazy.
You're gonna go watch this band live and like sit there with a frown on your face, but watch the whole set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gave this 2 different ratings. My probably more realistic rating is my lower one, just because that's how I listened to the album. But headphones, I give this 4.6. It was awesome. It was sonic. It was crazy. It was all over the place.
You like this a lot.
Well, it satisfies my ADD for like there's so many different things going on that I don't have to try and pay attention to a lot of stuff. It's just blasting my eardrums and
you don't have to think about it much.
Yeah, and it keeps me going. But
like
more realistic rating for me is 3.5 because I was just so disappointed, like Nathan said, with the production value of this.
They just need to strip it down.
Yeah, I feel like they got so much stuff and so much layering going on this that if you're not on like I think I listened to it on some Sony headphones I spent like $400 on. They're expensive ass headphones. But if I listen to them on my earbuds, sounds like shit. In the car, sounds like shit. Computer speakers, sounds like shit. But it shouldn't have to be like these high-end...
I agree.
Something to enjoy the music. So to me, I think the intent of this was exactly what it sounded like in the car. Muddied and too much layering and too much... Like, the digital recording, like, blocked out too much other wavelength or whatever to where it's just muddied and dirty. I wanted to like this album so much more than I really did, and it kind of pisses me off because the marketing, like you said, hooked me. I give them props, and I think even if it was a different band or a different style of music, just the fact that they're marketing a metal band is awesome, and I think it needs to happen more often. I'm excited to see where their next album goes. From what I understood,
me too.
Part of this was in production already, or part of this was partially written before Will even joined the band. So this is kind of like that weird hybrid of old stuff with new stuff, or old idea with new idea. So I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm with Nathan and you. I hope they strip it down and really like show their raw talent. Because I think there's a lot to work here.
So what's your final rating on it?
3.5.
3.5. Right. I'm glad we checked it out. I think there's a lot of buzz around this band, and
oh, for sure.
hopefully people, enjoy our review of it and write a comment and let us know what else we should review.
And don't judge people by their looks.
Or their cool haircut.
Or their cool haircut.
Or the type of
don't
noodle
be an
soup
old
they like
man
to eat.
like don't be an old man
or
like
the
me.
fact that they have hair, unlike some of us.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's me.
But let me just say, fuck that guy's hair.
This is Blenderstyle. That was Lorna Shore. Pain Remains. Wait, is that the name of the album? Yes.
Yeah.
Pain Remains.
This band reminds me of Cradle of Filth mainly because it's symphonic, but also both the singers are very, very short.